support him. My friends, we were born for this moment. This is our time in history. We are facing the biggest test of our lives. But this test is none other than fighting for our very democracy, the very freedoms guaranteed in our Constitution that are there for all of us, there from the moment we appeared on this earth. We find ourselves standing up here today at the Capitol, as Monica Meyer from out front likes to say, living lives of amazing vitality, saying to our state legislators, we are part of the Minnesota family. With the revelations coming out of Maine, we know that our opponents are not interested in any sort of a civil discussion as they claimed when they passed this thing last year. They're all about driving wedges, in their own words, wedges between communities, importing highly paid professional provocateurs. But I want to say thank you to Congressman Keith Ellison. Thank you, Senator Jeff Hayden, Senator Patricia Torres-Ray, John Harrington, Bobby Joe Champion, Carlos Mariani, Representative Rita Moran. They are standing with us saying there will be no wedges in the Minnesota family. Thank you. And actually, it's fine with me that they're employing those tactics, because you know what that means? That means we win. We win because when love is matched up with cynicism and negativity, love wins. And our movement is fundamentally about love. In our personal lives, we fought so hard individually to live lives of integrity, honesty, and courage. In short, we learned how to love ourselves so that we could find that grace that allowed us to turn that love outwards and love other people. For many of us, that transformational journey has affected so many others in our lives, our friends, our family, our co-workers, our fellow worshipers. And that journey continued when we found that person we fell in love with. We fell in love, and it was time to build a life together, to make a commitment, a promise, one that we made in front of friends and family, and we invited the community in to support us in that. When Minnesotans are given the opportunity to see us as we are, the truth of our lives centered on love, and they understand that by standing with us, they are standing up for exactly what they hold most dear. What is the most precious thing in their heart? Love, commitment, and family. And they will reject the lies, distortions, and negativity of our opponents and vote no and stand with us. We have nothing to apologize for. We can say with confidence, it is our campaign, our movement, that is truly upholding marriage. We are going to win because we have a strong and amazing campaign. Though we didn't ask for this, our community is at its finest in these moments of challenge. And wow, do we have friends, our governor, Vice President Mondale, former Chief of the Supreme Court Kathleen Blatz, former Governors Ventura, Carlson, members of Congress, Franken, Klobuchar, Ellison, McCollum, Walz, leaders from business, labor, every faith tradition, every political party, in every corner of the state, standing together. They are Minnesotans United for All Families, just like we call our campaign, Minnesotans United for All Families. Our campaign is going to be about having those crucial one-to-one, heart-to-heart conversations with those we know and love, asking that important question, what does marriage mean to you? Why does marriage matter? Those who have that conversation are 4 times more likely to vote with us, to vote no. Have those conversations. We're going to win because those conversations will be our chance to show marriage is about the love and commitment of 2 adults. Freedom is for everyone. We don't use our Constitution to limit freedom. We don't use our Constitution to allow government to intrude on who we love. In Minnesota, we treat everyone as we would want to be treated ourselves. It's the golden rule. And it is certainly not for me to say who you can love and who you can spend your life with. We're going to win because every single one of us is going to rise to the occasion, and we're going to become heroes in our own lives and heroes in the life of Minnesota. And we're going to do more than any of us ever thought possible. I'm going to give you 3 C's. I have a specific set of requests for each one of you. Your cell phone. Get out your cell phone and text the word United to 82257. United to 82257. Clipboards. Find someone in this crowd who has a clipboard and sign up to become a part of this campaign. There they are, they're waving them in the air. Find the clipboard people, sign up, become a part of this campaign, and commit. Commit to having just 3 conversations with people with whom you haven't spoken about the election, you haven't spoken about this amendment. Talk to 3 people and have that essential conversation. And go to the website, mnunited.org, and commit to vote no. This is it. This is it, my friends. This is our time to make history. We turn the corner right here in Minnesota. We do this for ourselves. We do this for our families. We do this for those we love. We do this for our democracy. And we do this for those who are coming behind us. Thank you. Have a great day. Oh, more members. Who are they? We have Representative Diane Loeffler, Senator Barb Goodwin, Representative Michael Paymar, Representative Ron Latz. Anyone else? Representative Linda Slocum, Representative Tina Liebling, Representative Jean Wagenius. I think I got her before. Michael Paymar. All right. Love these folks, but go and talk to those who wouldn't represent us and tell them what you expect them to do. Have a great day at the Capitol. And forgot my MC duty here. This has become a discussion about faith and Christianity and whose faith and what's Christian. Thousands of people are coming to this campaign because of their faith, and they're standing up for what they know to be right and good, and they know that we are all children of God, and they're standing up to vote no and stand with the values we all hold dear because of their faith. And we have an amazing number of clergy who have gathered, and we have Grant Stevenson, who's heading up the religious organizing effort within the Minnesotans United campaign, and we have my good friend, State Representative Karen Clark.
Hello, everybody. I'm losing my voice, but I'm so happy you're here because we've not lost our power. My message is please go in and take it there today, and let's go out and take it in the election. Thank you so much for being here.
Reverend Grant Stevenson, everyone.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. My name is Grant Stevenson. I am the Faith Director for Minnesota United for All Families. I think that the faith community is here for the same reason that every single person is here this afternoon. We believe in love. And more than that, I don't believe that when you love someone, it takes away from me loving someone. In fact, it upholds it. It strengthens it. It girds it. So if you love someone, let me say thank you. My job is to introduce a powerful community leader, Pastor Kelly Chapman, who leads in North Minneapolis, but really all over the state of Minnesota. Kelly Chapman is not only a pastor to many people, but known as a truth teller. There's been many times when Pastor Chapman has told me the truth. Sometimes I didn't like it. But every time I have been grateful for it. And I'm grateful that he's here with us today from Redeemer Lutheran Church in North Minneapolis, Pastor Kelly Chapman.
Good afternoon. I'm Kelly Chapman. I'm an African-American Lutheran pastor. And I'm here this afternoon to stand with my wife, my congregation, my church, and my faith, to stand in solidarity with people that marriage is a freedom. I'm so thankful that behind me stands a church and a faith that says that love is a value. It's a common value. I'm so glad that I stand with a church and a faith that says that to love someone is a value, and that marriage is something that stands for all that we stand for, and that we stand with all of the people, that freedom is a value. And one of those places where that value is lifted up is in marriage. I'm so thankful that when I was in divinity school, there was someone named Martin Luther King that talked about a beloved community, that talked about a place where people stand in solidarity, that marriage is not for some people, that you can love someone and not hide it. You can love someone and stand with the same freedom, the same health care, the same coverage, the same solidarity. I encourage you to stand with your church and your faith, to stand in solidarity with all of the people, that if marriage is valued for some, it is valued for all. Let us stand in solidarity, that we are not a tiered society where what is good for some is not good for others. Let us stand for love, for commitment, and for marriage for all. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Javier Morillo. I am president of the Service Employees Union Local 26. We are a union of janitors, security officers, window cleaners. You know, often people who don't like unions, and I get this a lot on Twitter, where they think of me and they talk about me, they call me a thug, and I'm always like, but I'm in pastels. The fact is that what being a union member is, what it's about is standing for fairness. Standing for fairness in the workplace and in our communities. That's what being a union member is about, and that's why unions across this state have said we will stand with all families to defeat this amendment. In a union, we also believe in coming together, because when we come together, we are more powerful. And we also believe in respectful relationship with our employers that end often also in contracts. And I've thought a lot about contracts in the context of this fight in recent months, because a few years ago, my partner and I were urged by a friend of ours who's an attorney to do healthcare, to prepare wills, healthcare directives and such, and we did this at their urging. And I will never forget, because I have to confess to you, for a very long time, I always thought this, marriage is not my fight. I would tell people, I don't know why straight people do that. But something happened in the process of preparing these documents that really, now looking back, makes me reflect on this fight very differently. And that's when our lawyer, our friend, we signed everything, did everything, she looked at us and said, I feel like I have to tell you, my duty as a lawyer to tell you that this is the most solid documentation we can do, the most solid contract, but even these have been successfully challenged in court. And that just hit me like a ton of bricks. So I thought, this fight, marriage, is about love and commitment. And here we were directing each other for what we want to do if one of us passes before the other. And the thought that anyone could dare come between our love and commitment to each other is appalling. That's what this fight is for me. And I think that's what it is for our community. It's about this notion of fairness. Now, the members of Local 26, as I said, are janitors and security officers. That's my day job. That's what I do. We fight together to improve standards in the workplace. Now, the janitors and security officers of the Twin Cities come from all over the world, speak many different languages, different colors, and different creeds. But we know that coming together across our differences is how we win better contracts, how we improve our standards. And that's a value that we share with the people here today and with this fight on our side. But you know what? It's not a value that the other side shares. As Scott pointed out, Senator Dibble, sorry, my friend Scott, Senator Dibble pointed out in recent days, the National Organization of Marriage, some documents have leaked of theirs that showed an explicit strategy to pit, in their words, to pit the black community and the gay community against each other, to pit the Latino community and the gay community against each other. Now, there are many things wrong with this, but I'll point out just two. Of course, the assumption is that there are no gay people in the black community, that there are no gay people in the Latino community. I can dispel that myth today. But most fundamentally, what is so wrong about that strategy memo, about their strategy to divide Minnesota, is that we know that that's not what our state is about. And that's not what we are about. We are about connecting people. We are about connecting greater Minnesota to the Twin Cities, about connecting families all across this state. And so I have a little bit of homework assignment for you all. Now, we're gonna be using our phones a lot today. Everyone has these nice fancy phones, right? How many of you have phones that take pictures and video? Raise your hands. Okay. So the first part of this assignment, you gotta memorize an email address. It's gonna be easy. It's myconversations@mnunited.org. Now everyone's gonna say it with me. myconversations@mnunited.org. Did you get that? Okay. Now here's what you're gonna do. Before you leave today, I want you to pair up with people. You're gonna grab this, your camera, tape a little video of yourself, telling us all why you and your family and the people who you love are opposed to this amendment. And talk about where you're from, where in Minnesota you're from, where in Minnesota you came from. How many of you are here from the Twin Cities but know people have family in greater Minnesota? How many of you are from outside the Twin Cities but are here today and know people? Exactly, right? We are a state that is connected. Tell us your Minnesota story. Share your Minnesota values about why you and the people you love oppose this amendment. And email that to myconversations@mnunited.org. Got that? Don't make the thug in pastels come after you. Do it. Have a great day.
We came back to tell you that a few other important allies were here, and I'm going to let Senator John Marty introduce himself and tell who else was here.
Thank you for being here. Just want to name some of the other legislators who are here who weren't introduced earlier. Senator Ron Latz, Senator Carrie Dietzick, Representative Alice Hausman, Representative Brian Winkler. And there are lots of wonderful people here supporting us. Vote no in November, and then in January we can pass marriage equality.
Hello everyone. My name is Justin Anderson. I'm a graduate of the Anoka Hennepin School District and a Safe Schools organizer for Outfront, Minnesota. I'm here today to share with you why I believe in the Safe Schools movement. Thank you in advance for listening to my story. Going into middle school, I knew I was gay. I didn't know the word for it at first, but I knew that I wasn't attracted to girls. On my first day of 6th grade, I began to hear people calling each other gay and fag. I didn't know what these words meant at first, but it soon became clear that they meant people like me, guys who like guys. I began to hear these words from that first day of middle school numerous times, every day until the day I graduated from high school. And it wasn't always directed towards me, but it often was. I wore the color purple a lot, and I was in speech therapy because I had a pretty serious lisp until 8th grade. So people perceived me as gay, even though I didn't come out until my senior year. One time in 8th grade, a student said to my face, about 5 feet from a teacher, Gays should go kill themselves so that we don't have to deal with them anymore. And the teacher's response was, quiet, you can't talk during class time. I want to take a moment to stress that I had some amazing teachers, but the number of people who weren't prepared to deal with the type of bullying that I faced vastly outnumbered them. I don't blame teachers for this, but I do blame anti-LGBT policies and a lack of training. I thought that things would be different once I started high school. My list was much less noticeable and I'd stopped wearing purple. I started trying to dress more like my older straight brothers. I had a lot of people from middle school there though, so none of that mattered. Some students thought that it would be funny to pour the trash on me when I was in a bathroom. And I tried to get away when I saw them by hiding in a stall, but they just started pouring it over the top. To this day, I don't feel comfortable in public restrooms. I didn't hear anything positive about LGBT people, and I began to internalize all the messages I was hearing, like fags are disgusting and sinful, the world would be better off without them, and who would ever want to be friends with a fag? I found myself awake in the middle of the night wondering if perhaps the world really would be a better place without me in it. And I thought that my family would want no me rather than a gay me. And I began to debate whether or not I should take my own life so the world really wouldn't have to deal with a fag like me. I wanted to ask for help, but I was still in the closet and I didn't have very much support, and I was worried that they would tell my parents or perhaps even agree with my peers. I was actually in school when Proposition 8 passed, and it sent a message to me that I wasn't worth as much as my peers. And actually, there were incidents of bullying that increased. And that was something that happened in California, so I'm worried about this amendment and the effect that this is going to happen and have on schools and students. I'm not exactly sure what changed, but one day I just woke up and started questioning why being gay meant that I was such a horrible person. And as it turns out, all these things that people were saying about me didn't match who I was then, and they don't match who I am now. I got involved in local efforts to change things. I joined a group called the Anoka Hennepin Gay Equity Team, and we organized other students and community members to come together to share our stories, thoughts, and experiences with each other and the school board in an attempt to create change. We learned a lesson in and that's that silence is deafening. It's isolating, dangerous, and sometimes deadly. And Anoka Hennepin isn't the only place where this environment exists for LGBT students. If we had comprehensive statewide anti-bullying legislation, it would help prevent this from happening anywhere across the state. Governor Dayton took a huge step forward by creating the Task Force on the Prevention of School Bullying. They'll be traveling around, collecting best practices and stories. And if they're coming to your community, reach out to them. And even if they're not, send them an email or call them and ask to speak with them, because it's important that they hear from you. Just because they recommend something doesn't mean that it'll be made into law. It also doesn't mean that we should wait for things to get better. When I was in 8th grade, telling me to wait until I graduated was telling me to wait an eternity. 4 years was almost a third of the entire life I'd lived so far. Don't just tell people that it gets better. Reach out to your friends, your parents, supportive school staff members. Speak to your school board and legislators about the need for comprehensive anti-bullying policies. Speak out for our students. Help make Minnesota a state where all students have a safe learning environment. Don't wait for things to get better. Organize. Make it better.
Good afternoon. My name is Bruce Ozzie, and I am speaking on behalf of Red Wing P-Flag and am surrounded by some of my fellow PFLAG members. PFLAG is an acronym for Parents, Friends, and Families of Lesbians and Gays. Our organization has three main goals. These goals include support for GLBT families, education of an ill-informed society, and finally, we advocate for fairness and equality. My wife Kathy and I joined PFLAG 18 years ago, shortly after our daughter Angie came out of the closet. You see, back then, when our children came out of the closet, parents went into the closet. At that time, we needed support to navigate the journey of our changed life that now featured numerous unforeseen challenges. One of those challenges was fighting the stigma of being GLBT. In case you haven't noticed, those stigmas still exist in today's society and will only be enhanced if the marriage amendment passes. PFLAG provided wonderful support that we so desperately needed. In fact, our PFLAG members became our family members. Red Wing PFLAG has a lengthy resume of educational programs it has conducted in our community and surrounding area. This list of visits includes churches, schools, service clubs, and a variety of civic venues. All these educational efforts have helped to change our community for the better. One example of this transformation is that last fall, the Human Rights Commission and the City Council both passed by unanimous votes the establishment of a domestic partner registry. Red Wing right now is included in a list of 18 Minnesota cities that offers this recognition and statement of welcome. And if you permit us to beat our chest for a minute, you might be interested to know that out of the 18 cities, Red Wing is the only rural community who has passed this registry. And now for the goal of advocacy. Why are Kathy and I and Red Wing PFLAG advocating the defeat of the marriage amendment? Well, because we are fighting for fairness and equality for all GLBT families. We strive for and dream of the day when our daughter Angie, her partner Cassidy, and their 3-year-old son Harry won't have to fear for their safety and will be treated with dignity and respect. Because this amendment is so offensive, people in our community are clamoring to pitch in and do whatever they can do to defeat this act of discrimination. In fact, on February 11th, 150 people attended an open house to learn how they can help. Before they left that evening, they had donated $3,000 to our cause. As a result of this overwhelming show of support, we have scheduled a series of events between now and November for them to demonstrate their opposition and to encourage others to vote no. In closing, defeating this amendment is not a partisan issue or partisan effort. To demonstrate that fact, we would like to recognize the leadership positions of 2 courageous Republican representatives who have taken positions of leadership with the Minnesotans United for All Families in opposing this amendment. Would you please join me in giving a loud, appreciative round of applause for Representative Tim Kelly and John Krasel. We are particularly proud of Representative Kelly because he represents us in Red Wing. Together with their leadership and your help, we are confident that Minnesota can make history by becoming the first state in the nation to defeat an attempt to enshrine discrimination into a state constitution. Thank you.
Lindblom. I live in Austin, Minnesota with my beautiful wife, Junie. And I've been asked to represent Greater Minnesota. And I know you guys already did a shout out, but I want to hear my Greater Minnesota folks one more time. Good deal. I just want to say there's a whole lot of life, a whole lot of GLBT life that's being lived in Greater Minnesota. And in a political season like the one we're in, I want to be sure that the people in the building behind me recognize those lives lived in Austin and in Crookston and in Rochester and Moorhead and Grand Rapids and Blooming Prairie and Walker and Duluth. Yeah, well, okay, Duluth. 5 years ago, on the way home from Outfront Minnesota's Lobby Day, a friend and I decided that we needed to find a way to create some dialogue in our rural, non-metro community about GLBT life, to give the GLBT community a voice and a face, recognition for who we as a people really are. And the goal was to find a way to educate and to dispel those myths. And so after some discussion, Stage Left was born. And Stage Left stands for Straights and Gays for Equality, listening, entertaining, facilitating, and teaching. And it's a collection of songs and plays and poems and things that people have wrote. And all of the focus is on meeting that goal of education. So it's been a really great deal. And so we gathered 20 local GLBT and ally performers, and in October of 2007 we performed for the first time. And that plan was to present material and then come out as a cast and ask the audience to engage in discussion with us. We were not sure how it would work, but we've done this a dozen times, and my favorite part of the evening is that discussion with the people afterwards. And why? Why is it my favorite? Because that's where we get to see the impact that we are having. After that first show in 2007, we had friends and foes in the audience, and we were able to have a meaningful and respectful discussion. We were able to share our lives, our very normal lives, with the audience. And they were able to see us for who we are. And their neighbors, their friends, their family, the people they work with, the people that they celebrate with, and the people that they pray with. By helping them to see us in this light and in this way, I believe that we help bridge that gap. The gap that keeps people from jumping in and supporting GLBT rights. And the gap that keeps folks from getting involved in rejecting a marriage amendment. In 2008, in a little church in Austin, Minnesota, in front of 140 of our closest friends and family, Ginny and I made a lifelong commitment to one another. And we decided that we wanted to make that declaration despite what the state had going on. And at that time we talked about the other options, but we wanted to be united in our community, the place that we work, the place that we live. And from that day, our hope has been that the state would get their act together and that they would find a way, make it possible for Ginny and for me and for other couples in the state to be able to legally marry. In 2010, Ginny was diagnosed with cancer. It's the slow-growing and deadly kind. And she's beating the odds, she's pushing back against that clock, and she's fighting every day for time while fulfilling dreams and seeing as much of the world as she can while she's able. And as a woman who's preparing to lose her wife, I am compelled I am driven and I am determined to make the dreams that she dreams come true. And marriage is a dream. It's our dream, and we're running out of time. One of my students is holding a sign that says, "Love holds no boundaries." And I agree, love holds no bounds. But the greatest expression of love for me, which is marriage, is being held bondage by the state of Minnesota. So the time has come for Minnesota to take its place in that list of states standing up for their GLBT residents. For crying out loud, people, Iowa's got this figured out. So Greater Minnesota, this is for you. Be heard. Talk with your representatives and senators. Be visible. I believe that the GLBT community in Greater Minnesota has the power to stop this amendment. Conservative Minnesotans underestimate the presence and the power of the voice of Greater Minnesota, and they certainly underestimate the numbers of people living in the boonies who are gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender. So, talk with your family and friends. Find ways to share your life with those you work with and live with. Have those meaningful dialogues and challenge people to take the leap, to bridge the gap, and to stand up with you. Thanks.
Hi everyone. So I'm Liz Kalia Zhang. This is my daughter. Can I tell you her name? This is Lacia. So I'm a community organizer on Hmong issues and healthcare at Take Action Minnesota. And thanks. And being a first generation Hmong American, I'm very proud to work for an organization that moves Minnesotans at the grassroots level to build social, racial, and economic justice. At Take Action, we believe that by acting together, the power of united diversity across organizations and individuals, we can all achieve significant change. The kind of change that moves us from the world we know now to a more just and fair world we hope to live in tomorrow. And at Take Action Minnesota, we strongly oppose the anti-marriage amendment and stand beside, out front, Minnesotans United and all Minnesotan families for respect and equality. So as we fight to defeat this amendment, what we're really doing is defending the freedom to love the person we choose. Who here has heard the religious right or others try and act like they're the only ones who know what love and family looks like? I'm sick of it too. I've been married 5 years to my wonderful husband, Dua Vang, and this is our daughter. She's 4. And now our family is not very religious, and we're definitely not conservative, but we still got the values of love and family right. That's your turn. Okay, so I'm gonna ask Lucia some questions. Okay, baby. Can you tell everybody what it means when you love someone?
It means I care about them.
Yeah. And what does it mean to be in a family?
That means you love with each other.
Does it mean you love each other too? There you go. So if a 4-year-old can understand that love is love and family is family, so should grown-ups at the Capitol and at the polls, right? But unfortunately, conservative right grown-ups don't quite get love. But they do know how to divide very well. Here's what I think happened. So in the past few years, they began to realize that in order to preserve their control, they could not only target people of color, or only women, or only GLBT members, or only the poor, or only workers and unions, or only young people, and so on. They realized they had to launch permanent attacks on all of us, the 99%. And the anti-marriage amendment is among 2 other hateful and hurtful amendments proposed by the GOP. The so-called right to work attempts to rob workers of fair wages, good jobs, and decent working conditions. And the voter suppression amendment has the potential to disenfranchise up to 700,000 Minnesota voters of their vote, a civil right. Wow. I like this crowd. So put together, these amendments are strategic efforts to marginalize the 99%, to keep us down, to keep us out, to keep us powerless and unable to get in the way of the 1%'s agenda to make more money and get more control of the world. So it's clear that they're after all of us, right? With these amendments? Yeah! Now, I'm very lucky in the sense that I'm in a heterosexual marriage and have a nuclear family. But there's really no difference between the commitment, devotion, and love that I share with my husband than that which is shared between our queer friends and family members and their significant others. So I want a Minnesota where we welcome and respect everyone, regardless of race, income, gender, orientation, religion, whatever. And defeating this amendment and the other two is a must for Minnesotans. So are we together? For love? Woo! Thank you for having me, everyone.
Good day, beautiful people. Woo! I'm gonna stand on my tippy toes because I am really small. My name is Siobhan Brewer. I am the lead organizer at Outfront Minnesota.
My name is Connie Kopke, and this is my 10th lobby day.
Yeah, this is my 3rd lobby day with Outfront. Today we've been in charge of coordinating the volunteers. So I just want to give a big up to all the people who came out today to volunteer to make this a successful lobby day. Thank you, volunteers. We couldn't do this work without you. We need each and every one of you to ensure that we turn this state into a state that represents us. Now, I'm originally from California, and everybody always asks, Siobhan, why did you move to Minnesota? The details aren't really cool, but what I'm looking forward to is going to my 10-year reunion this December and saying, this is why I moved to Minnesota. So how many of you, is this your first lobby day? Raise them high. All right, woo! And how many of you, is this like, your 3rd or 10th lobby day? Raise them up. Beautiful. I love seeing all the beautiful people, the various arrays of hairstyles, old, young, all over. I love seeing all you beautiful people. Now let me see hands of how many of y'all believe in love. Raise them up, raise your hands up high. Keep those hands up high. All right. Just so you know, your picture just got taken. It's gonna be in someone's art project, okay? Great. So one of the reasons why this is my chosen home is because we have an opportunity to make history for LGBT folks this year.
Now, if you remember, in 1993, our state, Minnesota, made history when it became the first state in our nation to prohibit discrimination against lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people in employment, housing, education, and public accommodations. This is especially historic because it's the first document to prohibit discrimination based on gender identity. I'm very proud to live in this state. My first lobby day was in 2003. It was a huge lobby day. It was because that year they tried to gut the Human Rights Act. They took the pen, a Sharpie to the act, and everything. Every time it says sexual orientation or gender identity, they crossed it out, and that was their legislative push that year. We fought it back in 2003. People came together, activist community grew up overnight, and it was amazing to see. We have over 2,000 people stuffed in the Capitol. They kicked us out the next year. 10 years later, now we're fighting this. And I know that if we come together like we did in 2003, all the volunteers, all the people working hard, Minnesota will vote no in November.
So let's start the chant. What are we going to do in November? What are we going to do in November? What are we going to do in November? That's right, people. Let's come together as one community, one love. Vote no November. Thank you so much for being here. It's a beautiful day.
You're beautiful.
Welcome to Lobby Day. We are your Twin Cities Gay Men's Chorus. We are not the Men in Black, although it looks like. Okay, this way. This is the end. We are very, very proud to be here. We've been here many, many times. We love to sing our song, because if we don't tell our story, who will? And I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of you this weekend, Friday and Saturday, our big concert at Tedman Hall. It's going to be lots of fun. We've got about 1,500 of you attending the concert this weekend. Go to tcgmc.org. This song, which is called Marry Us, believe it or not, was written over 20 years ago. Some of us old farts believed in marriage even back then. But what is exciting is the energy you bring to this mission. And it is a mission, it is a cause. Ladies and gentlemen, marry us.
join us? Right on. I'm Monica Meyer. I'm the Executive Director of Outfront Minnesota, and I'm so excited to be here with you today. I just want to thank you, champions, for all the work you do every day to make our state a beautiful place to live, a state where people don't face any discrimination, violence, or isolation based on who they are and who they love. That's the state we want, right? And we're going to work for it, right? So we've had a few speakers today talk about coming out. And really, that's what this year is about. We have a giant year before us. And we're asking people to come out and to be active and to be working for a Minnesota that we truly believe in. One that values all people and all families. And when I think about my coming out process, I came out a couple decades ago. And I know that when I came out because I had to talk to the people that I cared the most about in my life, my parents, about who I was and who I loved. And I didn't want to feel like a unicorn anymore. I wanted to join and have a beautiful community like this to join into. And then for my parents, they had to come out. And that was kind of tough. And so when we think about the families who are also coming up and the new people who are joining us, you know, for my dad, it was tough. He was a devout Catholic. He became a police officer and was a St. Paul police officer because he wanted to stand up against bullying. And most of all, he put family first. Family was his most important part of his life. And my dad just died a few months ago. And I know if he were here today, he would be crying. He'd be standing out there because he'd be afraid to be up here, but he'd be crying out there just thinking about all the people that you all are touching every day and all the people that you're helping to come out and be strong supporters, really for a Minnesota that really does value all people. And one of the things that really changed him around is for being a stronger advocate was he was struggling and he talked to some priests. And the priests told him the best thing they could have said. They said, you know, your daughter is the same person she's always been. Just go out and love her and make this world safe for her. And so that, right? I know. And so I'm feeling so great that we're all talking about the state we want to live in and that we're taking the opportunities in Minnesota that we can this year to really build a giant movement of justice-loving people who are going to work to make our schools bully-free. They're going to work to bring about marriage equality, and they're really going to work to make our state a place that really is a state that can value all families, where all people can just live and be out about who they are, right? So we've got work to do, but let's do that work. Let's do that work. Let's take that on, and let's build the most giant infrastructure of justice-loving humans that we've ever seen in our state. And let's go out and make some change. And so please have a fun day. Let's keep working, let's celebrate. And I have a couple announcements. So trainings are starting at 1:15 in the Kelly Inn over there. Please look for Harvey Milk Day celebration. That'll be coming up in May. And please sign up on Minnesotans United to sign up to defeat this amendment. And then please just keep doing the work you're doing every day. Thanks so much.